Can somebody check hell for me? Has it frozen over? Why don't you go outside, look up in the sky, and see if there's pigs flying? What is happening that I now agree with John Fetterman again?
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually their name, Jobob.
For some reason, anytime Fetterman comes up in the news, I think like 50% of the time I'm agreeing with him. Again, this is John Fetterman, the unfortunate stroke victim who got elected to the Senate in Pennsylvania. The trust fund baby never worked a job in his life until he ran for mayor of his small town in Pennsylvania at the age of 40, and then somehow managed to become the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania and is now in the U.S. Senate. That guy, the guy that I can't stand how he views the world, for some reason, every time he pops up, it seems like I go, that's a good point. What a weird thing. So Fetterman was on The View yesterday remarking about George Santos getting booted from Congress. We didn't really talk about it all that much. Somewhat insignificant to me. I'd say good riddance. Doesn't really matter. Shouldn't really affect anybody. George Santos got booted from Congress. Whoop-de-doo. But John Fetterman was on The View talking about it. I think The View hosts were thinking, yeah, he's going to trash Republicans. Look at these crazy Republicans who have this crazy guy George Santos in their party, but instead said something different. But we'll all watch it together. Check this out. John Fetterman remarking on George Santos getting booted from Congress. Watch this.
Well, it's like I'm not surprised, but to me, I think the more important picture is that we have a colleague in the Senate that actually did much more sinister and serious kinds of things. Senator Menendez, he needs to go. And if you are going to expel Santos, how can you allow to somebody like Menendez to remain in the Senate? And, Santos's kind of lies were almost, funny. And he, landed on the moon and that kind of stuff. Whereas, I think, Menendez, I think, is really a senator for Egypt, not New Jersey. So I really think he needs to go. And especially, it's kind of strange that if Santos is not allowed to remain in the House, someone like that. Yeah.
Are you, though, uncomfortable with the fact that there hasn't been an adjudication, that while he's been charged, there hasn't been a conviction? With Menendez.
I am. And it's like he has the right for his day in court and all that, but he doesn't have the right to have those kind of votes and things that's not a right. And I think we need to make that kind of decision to send him out.
I'm just curious, can somebody check hell for me? Has it frozen over? Why don't you go outside, look up in the sky, and see if there's pigs flying? What is happening that I now agree with John Fetterman again? What's the last thing he was, there's a big pro-Hamas protest group, and they're sitting there doing all their chants, and Fetterman just walks by with an Israeli flag waving it. I was like, what? Based Fetterman again? Dude. And so then he goes on The View and says, yeah, Bob Menendez, senator from New Jersey, is more like a senator from Egypt. Freaking funny. What is happening? And he landed some funny jokes there too, saying, well, George Santos, yeah, he was lying about stuff, but he was lying about crazy things. Like, yeah, I landed on the moon, or my mom was in 9/11. Do I like George Santos? No. But also, Fetterman is right when he's saying, yeah, Santos was lying about dumb, weird stuff and misspending campaign money. Bob Menendez is taking bribes from various foreign countries. Weigh him a little bit. Why does it take John Fetterman to point this out to the lefty side of the aisle? And then I love Sunny Hostin. I used to kind of think she was a nice person, smart, but also kind of, really caught up in her own side of things. But that was just, well, he hasn't been officially convicted of any sort of crimes. Are you uncomfortable with kicking someone out of the Senate for not being convicted of a crime? And Fetterman didn't say it, but guess what? Freaking neither has George Santos. At this point, both trials are still pending, to my understanding. But Sonny to say, well, you can't jump to conclusions here because the man has not been convicted of any crimes. Well, first of all, there's a lot of evidence out there. And then Menendez said, I can't believe these people are trying to besmirch me because I am a Latino man. That was his argument against it. There's a ton of evidence against Menendez. And the only reason he hasn't been convicted of any of those crimes yet, at least in my opinion, is because the court date is set like 6 months out. But that didn't stop the House from booting out freaking George Santos. So what kind of question is that, Sonny? Is that supposed to be like oh yes, we should contemplate this grave decision made to the most respected and important deliberative body in the world? Or do you go, oh yeah, dude, this guy, how about this? How about the Senate has their own hearing? Because you know that they can do that. Doesn't necessarily have to be criminal charges, but they can bring it to, I don't know, the Intel committee or whoever. Some committee can have their own hearing and then the Senate can vote to oust that guy too. But again, John Fetterman, of all freaking people, hitting it on the nose, saying, yeah, if you're going to kick out Santos for lying about goofy stuff, you probably should kick out Menendez too. Beth coming back with an important report saying, no pigs flying, sorry, LOL. I did ask if anybody saw pigs flying or if hell had frozen over. What is the world coming to? Where I agree with John Fetterman twice.